Psalm 119, Day 28. Our thoughts for today center around 5 words: ways, truth, judgments, righteousness, and statutes. A continuation from yesterday's study in which we looked at 5 other words that describe or define different ways for God's Word that the author has used in Psalm 119. Our first word for today is ways. The Hebrew word, derek. It means a road, figuratively, a course of life or mode of action. It means a conversation, a custom, a journey, or a manner, according to Strong's Hebrew Dictionary. A scholar wrote, "The way in which God goes in order to instruct and save man, the way in which man must tread in order to be safe, holy, and happy, God's manner of acting or proceeding in providence and grace, and the way that man should take in order to answer the end of his creation and redemption." The term way or ways occurs 19 times in Psalm 119. Some notable verses are these. Verse 1, "Blessed are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the law of the Lord." Verse 3, "Who also do no wrong, but walk in his ways." Verse 132, "Turn to me and be gracious to me, as is your way with those who love your name." Verse 168, "I keep your precepts and testimonies, for all my ways are before you." Our next term is truth, or myth. It means stability, figuratively certainty or truth, trustworthiness, faithful, right, or sure, of verity, as defined by Strong's Hebrew Dictionary. A scholar wrote, "To make steady, constant, to settle, trust, or believe, the law that is established, steady, confirmed, and ordered in all things, and sure, which should be believed on the authority of God, and trusted to as an infallible testimony from him who cannot lie or deceive." The terms truth or true are found 4 times in Psalm 119. Some notable verses are these. Verse 43, "And take not the word of truth utterly out of my mouth, for my hope is in your rules." Verse 142, "Your righteousness is righteous forever, and your law is true." Verse 151, "But you are near, O Lord, and all your commandments are true." Verse 160, "The sum of your word is truth, and every one of your righteous rules endures forever." Our next term is judgments, the Hebrew word mishpat, properly a verdict, favorable or unfavorable, pronounced judiciously, especially a sentence of formal decree, human or particularly divine law, including the act, the place of the suit, the crime, and the penalty. Abstract justice, including a particularly right or privilege, as defined by Strong's. Mishpat, as a scholar wrote, "to judge, determine, regulate, order, and discern, because they judge concerning our words and works, show the rules by which they should be regulated, and cause us to discern what is right and wrong, and decide accordingly." Judgments occurs 17 times in Psalm 119. Some notable verses are these. Verse 7, "I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I learn your righteous judgments." Verse 30, "I have chosen the way of truth. Your judgments I have laid before me." Verse 106, "I have sworn and confirmed that I will keep your righteous judgments." And finally, verse 175, "Let my soul live, and it shall praise you, and let your judgments help me." Our next term is righteousness, tesdek. It means the right, natural, moral, or legal, equity, or prosperity, according to Strong's Hebrew Dictionary. A scholar wrote, "To do justice, to give full weight, that which teaches a man to give to all their due, to give God his due, man his due, and himself his due. For every man has duties to God, his neighbor, and himself to perform." This word is applied to God's judgments, testimonies, and commandments. They are all righteous. Give to all their due, and require what is due from everyone. The term righteous or righteousness is found 13 times in Psalm 119. Some of the notable verses are verse 7, I will praise you with an upright heart when I learn your righteous rules. Verse 40, behold, I long for your precepts, and your righteousness give me life. Verse 164, 7 times a day I praise you for your righteous rules. Verse 172, my tongue shall speak of your word, for all your commandments are righteousness. And finally, a term for today, statutes. The Hebrew word means an enactment, hence an appointment of time, space, quantity, labor, or usage. Appointment, bound, commandment, convenient, or custom, as defined by Strong's. A scholar wrote, to mark or to trace out, describe and ordain, because they mark out our way, describe the line of conduct we are to pursue, and order or ordain what we are to observe. Statutes is found 22 times in Psalm 119. Some notable verses are verse 5. Oh, that my ways may be steadfast in keeping your statutes. Verse 16. I will delight in your statutes. I will not forget your word. Verse 118. You spurn all who go astray from your statutes, for their cunning is in vain. And finally, verse 171. My lips pour forth praise, for you teach me your statutes. As you can see in this 28-day study of Psalm 119, it is by no means exhaustive or complete. There is more than enough to keep us in wondrous awe for a lifetime. Don't you agree? Are you ready to start all over tomorrow with Psalm 119?